Aaron Bushnell said, "What would you do if your country was committing genocide?" Aaron said, "You're doing it now." Now, 1 year hence, the reigning administration has given full authority to an unelected billionaire oligarch to determine domestic and foreign policy while referring to himself as sovereign monarch and placing outright fascists into key positions of power throughout the government. On Thursday, at the Conservative Political Action Conference, Steve Bannon, one of Trump's longtime political allies, raised the fascist salute and implored reactionary supporters to fight, fight, fight. It disgusts me. Trump's vision of U.S. power is imperial and cruel to the extreme. He repeatedly claims a desire to annex Canada and Panama while insisting on the total ethnic cleansing of Gaza. Aaron Bushnell stood firmly in opposition to this vision and was being made to support these decisions under threat of corporal punishment, torture, and legal retribution, the so-called dishonorable discharge. This military took away his human right to make free moral decisions, and that led Aaron to choose self-immolation over further submission. Now, that same military machine is reaching for even more extreme levels of cruelty and crime. Now we stand at the precipice of a new U.S. military order. Already this military, the soldiers in this base here before us, are being used as extrajudicial enforcers to wage a domestic war on the people who have come seeking after the wealth and privilege that the United States plunders from their economies and is now hoarding within its borders. When Trump sends U.S. troops to clear out Gazans for his new Riviera, it will be these troops. If you think that the current administration is pushing this country away from democracy and towards the rule of a few rich elites, or perhaps you're worried that the U.S. is taking a fascist turn, and we should be very concerned with that, then you must recognize that it is the U.S. armed services that are going to be the direct executors of that despotism. We are here calling for these bases to be shuttered, to end the global regime of bloodletting and occupation that they enable and have enabled for decades, centuries even. We should also call for the abolition of the military rank structure. Military discipline is an affront to human dignity and a completely anti-democratic practice. Military discipline and rank hierarchies turn people into tools of murder and destruction, and denies them their moral reasoning. That is why Aaron is not with us today, because he was made into a servant of death by a ruthless machine which had no regard for him or anyone as a human being. Shortly before igniting himself, Aaron contacted Crime Think, an anarchist activist and publishing collective, and urged them to ensure that his message was distributed and reported on. That is why we are here, not only to mourn his death, rest in peace, comrade, but to recognize publicly that it was this institution which caused it, and to call for the abolition of that institution so that the bloody age of U.S. war and domination may finally come to an end. Peace and all power to the people. As any veteran,
the president signed a transgender executive order taking away a transgender person's right to join the military, claiming the military would reach a higher quality of performance if the ban was followed. Further, present-serving military service persons that are transgender, their medical procedures are no longer authorized. That's a boo, that's a shame on you. So imagine intersectionality, social identity. A person aware of their identity at the time of enlistment. Y'all following me? Because opportunities for underserviced areas are limited in resources. The social identity of lower income is a real means of oppression. intersectionality, social identity, the intersection of, let's say, living in Section 8 housing in West Virginia and being transgender. The military provided some of the best opportunities for a career for medical care. When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Trans rights are human rights.
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 Women's 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 rights are human rights.
Palestinian 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 rights are human rights.
God bless you.
We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. We're young and all together. We're young and all together. We shall not be moved. We're young and all together. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved.
Palestine will live forever.
Palestine will live
Come on. Free, free Palestine.
free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free, free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Free, free, free Palestine.
Free Palestine.
Peace, shalom, shalom. In Gaza City, peace, shalom, shalom. In communist peace, shalom, shalom. In Gaza, peace, shalom, shalom. In Rafa, peace, shalom, shalom. In Germany, peace, shalom, shalom. In Jabalia, peace, shalom, shalom. In Bethlehem, peace, shalom, shalom. In Jerusalem, peace, shalom, shalom. In San Diego, peace, shalom, shalom. In Coronado, peace, shalom, shalom. In the Philippines, peace, shalom, shalom. In Afghanistan, peace, shalom, shalom. In our world today, peace, shalom, shalom. In our world tomorrow, peace, shalom, shalom. Oh, everyone, peace, shalom, shalom. 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 America has addiction to power and believes the only way to survive is by having the most money and the most weapons. We're out here today for the same reason that Aaron Bushnell self-immolated, to stage an intervention, to express that we can no longer live as servants to the addict, that we will think twice before paying our tax dollars that we know will be used not for the good of our community, but for destruction. We will not stand by and stand back and watch America and Israel commit genocide and ethnic cleansing. When we say free Palestine, it definitely doesn't mean that it's free for the taking. A quote that was heard while Aaron Bushnell was ablaze came not from him, but from a police officer that was calling for help. He said, I don't need guns, I need fire extinguishers. And as we think about this vision of a future that we are building, the one that will replace this chaos, I suggest that we meditate on that idea. We don't need guns, we need fire extinguishers. All power to the people.
The bombs being dropped on Palestine, Lebanon, Yemen, it's putting all of our lives at risk. Western leaders, they're pretending like this does not add to the climate crisis. It is the leading cause of the climate crisis. Our government sends our brothers and sisters off to fight to keep the people in elected positions rich and powerful. Defense contractors across the U.S. Then, our veteran brothers and sisters, they're coming home after killing babies, children, families, pregnant women.
We'll never be defeated! Money for jobs and education! From Palestine to Mexico! From Palestine to Mexico! All these walls have got to go! The people, united, will never be defeated! The people, united, will never be defeated!
Well, we really see that imperialism and militarism is an intersectional issue because it affects people of different classes, different races, different social or gender identities, and specifically for the Philippines, we see how at the intersection of race and class, our people are oppressed because most of the time a lot of military recruiters will target working class youth in Filipino communities. Yeah.
No worries. And so folks pulled themselves together for Aaron Bushnell in particular, as well as to protest U.S. imperialism and the funding of the war on Gaza, especially the Trump and the Biden administration both offering weapons up to Israel for that. How was Aaron Bushnell's immolation tied into what you're speaking about today?
Yeah, so the Philippines is actually the #1 buyer of Israeli arms, and we see that with Aaron Bushnell's sacrifice for speaking out of what he did, we link and raise the issues of underdevelopment and imperialism, and in the same way that Israel is almost a colony of the United States, it's the same for the Philippines and Asia. We see that we really wanted to be here today not to demonize active duty service members, but to demonize the system and lack of development for the people.